Denver Broncos just get some phenomenal news before taking on the New York Jets in London on Sunday. We get some great news about the Los Angeles Chargers continuing to charger our opposition for next week's game. Another New York team just got a lot more interesting, that and way more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben. Helps me in the algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos. Smash that like and subscribe button so we get our final injury report. The bad news is that Jonah Ellis is out. The good news, as we talked about earlier in this week, is that Q Robinson is looking to slot right into his place and looking phenomenal. And then maybe the best news of all is that this New York Jets team wants to run the ball, especially with Breece Hall. Malcolm Roach is back in and is expected to not only be return. Obviously, we opened up his window. He's got 21 days, but all of the reports are showing that because the Broncos have not put on Ben Powers on the injured reserve list, yes, that is because they were waiting to activate Malcolm Roach and then bump him obviously to Ben Powers obviously to the IR. So that makes a ton of sense. We were wondering why Ben Powers didn't go on the injured reserve list as soon as he had that surgery, which happened almost immediately after that game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now it makes a lot more sense that we are going to have Malcolm Roach in action, suited up on Sunday, stopping the run. That is great. Then looking here at the New York Jets injury report, just in general, what you're going to notice is that injury reports for almost every other team across the NFL is larger than ours, and that is a great thing, and that is because of Sean Payton's attention to detail. You've just heard him talk about he's got his players with sleep devices, and he has these devices that are on them that measure how far they're running in practice and how fast they're running in practice, and he is a maniac about those details, and those do add up. You still can have total fluke injuries, and we knock on wood that those don't happen, but in general, the Broncos have been one of the healthier teams in football because of the strategy Sean Payton is putting in place. And then we've gone out and stolen the dudes from the Golden State Warriors, and we just got a guy who is won the Tech Bowl for data nerds last year for Amazon Web Service. So Sean Payton's phenomenal with that. Looking here, you see a pretty long injury list, and that we are seeing that Michael Carter, their slot receiver, is out. This was a New York Jets team that already really struggled to defend the slot receiver and the tight end, so I expect massive days from Evan Ingram, and I expect Pat Bryant to really get some action. We've actually seen that Pat Bryant has been in on a lot of plays this year so far, which is pretty noticeable because he is a rookie, and we have Mims, and we got Sutton, and we got Troy Franklin. So the fact that he's been on the field so much is because of what Sean thinks of him as a blocker. I expect him to get a lot of action and actually get targeted a lot in this game. And then seeing Alan Lazard also out. Justin Fields has struggled to move the ball in meaningful minutes. He's a great runner, but I'm not afraid of him throwing the ball, especially on this improved secondary that we have. So this game is in London, and cool that even though it is an away game for us, that we get a home end zone, which just looks sick there at this stadium that it's at. And then, as we were thinking about going to London, there are a lot of very, very strange things that happen in London. I think one of the great advantages that Sean Payton has is that he's been around the block. He's played in London multiple times. He actually was a player coach in London as a youngster. And that you are going up against a rookie head coach in Aaron Glenn. This is a really cool article. I think it's behind a paywall here, but it's on The Athletic, and it talks about just London, playing a game in London is like the upside down world, and going in and doing that for your first time is an entire learning curve. It's not a learning curve for Sean Payton. This article talks about crazy stuff that has had to happen, like doing punter tryouts in the front yard of a really nice hotel in London, and all the weird stuff that you are not expected to be prepared for. And we know how Sean Payton is a maniac about the details, and he has continued to do that, to avoid this being a trap game, because we're playing the last winless team in the NFL this week in the New York Jets. That could easily be a game that we look past after a huge win against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's just not in Sean Payton's MO. He actually is put mousetraps all over the team hotel to kind of signal to all the players hey, don't fall for the trap. And Sean Payton is a maniac about the details, and I expect those kind of things to continue. Nice article here in Sports Illustrated talking about what are our keys to victory in this game. And one of the keys is let's get some run here for a couple other running backs other than J.K. Dobbins. We already know what J.K. can be. He is an absolute beast and the best running back we've had here in a long, long time. His vision is wild, and we see it time and time again. I would love to kind of see what we have in R.J. Harvey, especially in this game. This would be a great time to let's feed R.J. Harvey. We know this is not a run defense that scares anybody. So let's keep J.K. Dobbins healthy all the way until a deep run in the playoffs. And so, let's get J.K. some run. I also think this is a great game to try to get some run, obviously, like I talked about earlier for Pat Bryant. The other interesting stat here is just how long it has taken the New York Jets. They still have not generated their first turnover of the season. So Bo Nix, protect the ball. Let's just make this as quick and painless as possible. Let's get through this game, and I know it's going to happen. Sean Payton doesn't look past opponents. He has been here before. He's going up against a rookie head coach who has not yet won a game. Now, that kind of does put them in a position there to be pretty vulnerable because they're going to throw out all the stops, expect fake punts, random stuff because they are throwing Hail Marys here and haymakers because they want to get out of here with a win. But I do not think it happens this week. And in particular, because one of their advantages is like they have a rookie tight end who they've been able to get the rock several times. And I like how the Broncos, without Dre Greenlaw, have been using Jahdae Barron as a stopper of the tight end. Luca Evans for the Denver Post points out like just the ways that we've been able to incorporate Jahdae Barron. He's making an impact each and every time he comes on the field. And I'm expecting that again this week. And then we know last year's rookie class was so phenomenal, and we're like, we'll never get a rookie class like that. Like just seeing Devon Vele balling out of control, seeing Troy Franklin play really well. Maybe Devon Vele was a rookie there. Seeing Bo Nix, obviously, like we had so many rookies who hit the ground running last year. Jonah Ellis. This year, it's been like a little underwhelming, and I expect this to be the come-out party for the rookies. We remember even last year, Troy Franklin didn't even suit up for a game until week number 3. Sean Payton slow plays rookies, and I expect them to come in and make a bigger difference as the year is continuing. And it's not like our rookies haven't contributed at all. Jeremy Crenshaw, the Australian the Australian punter we has is actually the second-ranked punter in the NFL when it comes to downing balls inside the 20, which is a phenomenal stat. And then Pat Bryant actually was on the field 23 different receiving snaps against Philly. So we are working them in. I expect to really kind of see their coming out party this week. Then other great news. We know Broncos are gunning for that top spot in the AFC West. They're in a tie right now with the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are flying all the way from Los Angeles to Florida to play the Miami Dolphins, who we know are a pretty reeling team themselves, but that's a long plane flight. It's going to be a crazy hot day, and the Chargers are just so incredibly beat up. We know that Najee Harris is out the entire year after blowing his Achilles. We know Marion Hampton got put on injured reserve. We know their backup plan was J.K. Dobbins, who's a Denver Bronco. And then in addition to that, they lost Rashawn Slater, the first snap of the preseason, essentially. And now they're actually without their starting left tackle on one side, their starting tackle on the other side. They're without Darius Davis, and there's several others who are questionable in this game. And then in addition to that, Mekhi Becton, their guard, had a finger injury in last week's game, and so he has a club on one hand. And so I just really like this opportunity because you could have the Broncos in sole possession of first place with the Chargers on a 3-game losing streak, which would just be absolutely phenomenal. Even if they don't, I like the Broncos' chances of being at the top of the AFC West by the time we play the Chiefs in just a couple of weeks here, because 4 of our next 5 opponents are going to be played at home, which is, we know, mile high advantage. We know that the crowd is going to be lit, and we believe in this team like we haven't in almost a decade. I think that home field advantage for coming to Denver is going to be back in force. The next time we actually have to play a team who's in playoff position now, I think we all know at some point the Chiefs probably are going to be back in playoff position, but as of right now, they're not. The next time we play like a team with a real winning record is going to be December 14th against the Packers. So the schedule is lining up absolutely in our favor. And even though we didn't get off to the hot start like we wanted, we still are going to be in pulling position, and I just think it is looking absolutely phenomenal. Next week's game, we have the other New York team. We have the New York Giants next week, and there are some people saying that there's already a curse out for us because the caller of that game, if you're watching on TV, is going to be Kevin Harlan. And we remember he called the game when the Broncos lost on the blocked field goal to the Kansas City Chiefs last year. He called the game when we lost in overtime to the Bengals, and then he called our game where we just had the leverage call against the Colts. But we know Sean Payton is a streak breaker, and he's going to break the streak for Kevin Harlan gains games that we've lost when he has called them. Now, like, the game actually did just get a lot more interesting, not only because the Giants went in and just mollywopped the Eagles on a short week last night, but also because there's some controversy and an investigation happening over Jackson Dart. So he got hit in the game and was pulled out of the game. The booth flagged it and said, hey, you need to come in the tent for a concussion evaluation. And you had multiple people go into the booth and try to get him out. You see Dable losing his mind and trying to influence the team doctor, so much so that they had to come out and the Giants had to actually make an official statement on it and said, we know the league has protocols in place. And so now the NFL and the NFLPA are investigating this. And you definitely could have a disciplinary procedure there. At the very least, they're going to have to do full evaluations of Jackson Dart before next week. I want the Broncos to play Jackson Dart because I'm not worried about a rookie quarterback coming to Denver. Sean Payton is going to have his head spinning. Vance Joseph is going to have his head spinning. But it is very interesting that you have a review going on and possibly disciplinary procedures for the New York Giants, who definitely feel like they got all the wind at their back after beating the Chargers 2 weeks ago. They lost a game to the Saints, but they turned the ball over 5 times and still probably could have pulled that thing out. But that's going to be very, very interesting to monitor. We got a great week of content with that. And then last kind of pieces of news here. Bo Nix is a dad, which is awesome, or about to be a dad. His wife announced on Twitter that they are pregnant at this point, which is very, very exciting. And we got to remember that Bo Nix is already a dad of Max Crosby. By the end of the season, he's also going to be the dad of Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes and obviously Geno Smith and all of those guys. So Bo Nix already has his hands full running the AFC West. Thought that was absolutely hilarious. And then speaking of Max Crosby, there is a lot already happening here and signs that things in Vegas are spiraling out of control before we'd even thought. That win against the Patriots that they had early in the season scared me and thought like, oh, this is going to be maybe a team that vies for a playoff spot, but already there are rumors out there that they're shopping Max Crosby. There is a lot of turmoil there, and they're not, I just think the death spiral there is going to continue, which is good because the Broncos have them in Mile High on a Thursday night. So Broncos country, we're going to be doing a watch along Sunday morning. Get up bright and early, get your coffee with me. We'll be watching together, and we got a ton to believe in. Oh, I got one more day to hit that.